Hey guys, it's Danny. Alrighty, today we're continuing the greenhouse work and we're dealing with some Oncidiums right now. I have to tell you that, my Oncidiums are doing quite okay and many of them are starting to produce flower spikes, so everything is cool. However, there is a part of my Oncidiums that absolutely frustrates me, let's call it like that, and these are the Twinkles. Therefore, I decided to change their location. So let's focus a little bit on the Twinkles. Let me tell you what's happening. Maybe you can relate. If you can, leave me a comment down below. So I've had Twinkles and cherry babies and all of those things for quite a few years now, and I know they do create flower spikes really slow. In about 3 or 4 months, you'll have the flower spike ready to bloom. However, mine are even worse than that. When did I receive my Twinkles from Max? I think it's more than 4 months ago. It's a little bit weird. So I've had my Twinkles on my shelf, which has artificial light. And it's not a question of, well, it was winter or the temperatures were too low, because it was full summer. These guys should have grown really fast. And not only the Twinkles were on my shelves, but also the sotoanum. Now the sotoanum, as far as I remember, is a common ancestor, a common parent for the Twinkle as well as for the cherry baby. Therefore, I've always considered the Twinkles and the cherry baby, even though way different in looks, pretty similar. And the sotoanum is no different. Now, what do these guys have in common? They all have flower spikes. And yes, they have beautiful, long flower spikes. I really hope they're gonna branch. And they've been in spike for the past 4 months or more. Something's not quite right. What could be wrong? And I suppose it's the light quantity. Therefore, I changed their location. I decided to move all of the Oncidium Twinkles and also one of the cherry babies and the other 2 cherry babies. Oh, you don't know, I have another 2 cherry babies. I'll talk about them a different time. Where the Cattleyas sit. So this was a good place for the Cattleyas as well. It receives very bright light during daytime and even direct sunshine, as this is a southwest exposure. So instantly it's a lot more light than what they used to have on the shelves. And I'm really curious to see if the flower spikes will develop faster. Now, there is a difference between Oncidiums. I personally believe that the proper or pure Oncidiums, such as the Twinkles, cherry baby, and of course the sotoanum, they do require more light than the intergenerics. Now, intergenerics can have Odontoglossums in them, and I know right now they have been reclassified and all of them are put in the same bucket of Oncidiums, but it's not quite fair in my opinion. I know there are very good reasons to do so, and I'm not a scientist, but from experience I can tell you that the hybrids that have Odontoglossum, aka the hybrids that were called Colmenaras, Vilstacaras, all of those things, they don't really require as much light as Oncidium, proper Oncidiums. And this doesn't mean that an Oncidium will die or will not grow. It reflects absolutely in flowering. With those intergenerics, I always had great success in lower light conditions. With the Oncidiums, I always had better success in brighter conditions. I've always kept my cherry babies in almost Cattleya light, and the other intergenerics more in the traditional Oncidium type of light. Therefore, I am really curious to see if my Twinkles will act differently here. I've never had issues with Twinkles or cherry babies, or sotoanums, although this is the first year I have him, where they took so long to create a flower spike, but then again, I've never grown them under artificial light. I'm guessing that's the problem. Other than that, these guys are hydrated, they're not desiccated, they receive fertilizer, they receive all the good stuff, except light. So I'll keep you up to date. I'll see if there's any change. I presume there will be. I have a funny suspicion there will be, because if I leave them on the shelves, I don't know if they will bloom this year, honestly. And at some point, I think they'll decide to just give up the flower spikes. And that's a shame, because look how many spikes. Oh my goodness. And if they start to branch out, it's just gonna be fantastic. So yeah. Okay, before we move on to the other Oncidiums, somebody asked, what's wrong with the Twinkles, with the lift tips? Well, I've always had this on my Twinkles. I'm not entirely sure if it is something causing it. But the sotoanum and Oncidium cherry baby generally are known to have some spots on the leaves. This is my sotoanum. See? It has spots on the leaves. I've had a Twinkle for about 4 years already. It always had spots on the leaves, particularly on the leaf tip. So it's not a problem of over-fertilizing or virus or things of the sorts. I don't know. I've always had some dieback and some spotting, sometimes less. In wintertime, I feel that it's a little bit less. So maybe there are some things that contribute to the aspect of the leaves. However, I have a twinkle which absolutely doesn't show this. And this is the yellow twinkle that I have. Look at this guy. There is absolutely no leaf tip dieback. There is a bit of spotting. All of them have a bit of spotting. The cherry baby is known to have kind of spotted leaves. That's fine. These orchids are not the most beautiful leaf-wise. However, yeah, I noticed that in some climates, this whole spotting situation is not as bad. This is not as bad as you can see, while in other climates it is. So I'm not entirely sure what causes it. I tend to believe it's something a little bit genetic. When I first started to grow twinkles or cherry babies, I read from the get-go they do have spotting on their leaves, and it's fine. It doesn't mean they're sick. I will have to give it, this is a little bit extreme. But yeah, I'm not sure what causes it really, because it's not across the board. Not all of them look like that, but not all of them are the same variety. These supposedly are the same variety. And yeah, I'm tempted to think it's nothing to worry about. I've kind of always had them in pictures. You will see some of them have them, some of them don't. I was never able to explain why they have spotting. But yeah, I can tell you that in summer, it looks a little bit worse than in the winter time. However, it doesn't affect the entire leaf and it doesn't affect the orchid, and that's pretty much it. If you do have an answer for why Oncidium twinkles, sotoanums, and cherry babies do have spots on their leaves, just let me know down below. Now with the other intergenerics, such as the Beallaras, and oh my, I do love me some Beallaras, I always had no issue regarding light. Right now they are living here with my LED fixture that I talked about in a previous video. If you didn't see it, I'll link it down below in the description. So with these guys, I never had issues with slow growing flower spikes or lack of flower spikes for that matter. They just always seem to do very well in pretty much, well, a little more than Phalaenopsis light actually. Now the Beallaras and Vilsticaras and Miltonidiums, let's look at a Miltonidium. These guys, well, these are the old names. The new names are pretty much Oncidium across the board or Alisara. I know that Beallaras became Alisara, but not all of them. Some of them are Oncidiums, and I personally don't agree to this, even though I'm sure there's a good reason. So all of these orchids, they do have Miltonia or Miltoniopsis in their parentage. And as you might know, Miltoniopsis are not highlight plants, not even Miltonias. I've had good results with Miltonias in more intermediate light, nothing like Cattleya light or anything of the sorts. And so all of these intergenerics absolutely did not have issues in creating flower spikes. Right here, I did not move their location throughout the year. Ever since last year, they have been living here. All is okay with these guys, and they are producing flower spikes and growing at normal speeds, I would say. I think these flower spikes developed to this length in the past month, so pretty speedy if you compare them to the Oncidiums. They're doing well and they will sit in this area of my greenhouse. I will improve though the shelving situation. I do not have a shelf here. It doesn't look all that great. Other than that though, things are looking very okay here, and that's where I will keep them. But when it comes to the pure Oncidiums, I'm very much inclined to put them in Cattleya light, unless it's a species that requires less light. But other than that, yeah, no, whatever is pure Oncidium from now on goes on Cattleya light, because it's not pretty what's happening. So that is my project for today. I need to tend for the Oncidiums, I need to find places for them, and I will slowly but surely move in and redo my shelving, put there some orchids that I know will do okay in more intermediate light. And sadly, my highlight area is getting crowded. That's a problem. So for this reason, I'm starting to think in advance a little bit. I think at some point, not very soon probably, but at some point I will change the lighting situation under my shelves. Right now I do have okayish light. It works for everything here. Well, keep in mind, this is a shelf that does receive some direct sunshine, but the other shelf, not so much. So since the Oncidiums decided that they're not gonna grow very fast or bloom very well under that light, I'm considering some panels. Now I have two options. I have the option to go for grow lights, which are pink and very obnoxious to look at and damaging for the eye, or I have the version of 4000 kelvins, which is my preferred light. It has decent amount of blue and red, and also it's quite okay for the eye. It's not necessarily what you would call daylight white, but that's not what I'm looking for, and it will look good on camera. So now I found on Amazon some panels, LED panels that are actually designed for shop ceilings, but they look so good and they diffuse the light and they spread it very even, and they're a lot stronger than what I'm using. So I'm looking into it to see if I can properly mount them and arrange them and if they will benefit me. I think it's kind of the next step, and with the light that I have, as you could see, I can kind of grow pretty well the intergenerics, not to mention Paphiopedilums and stuff of the sorts. However, Oncidiums, oh my. So yeah, I do want to have more options, and that's the next, let's say, future project for the greenhouse. I want to change the light. I want to put panels, more even light, more intense light, and so on, and I don't want to spend 100 pounds or 150 pounds or more on proper grow lights. No, I don't really need them. I cannot even film with them. I cannot even sit in the greenhouse with them. And orchids can do very well in 4000K spectrum, and of course it will cost a lot less money. So yeah, I'm researching to see if I can actually mount them under my shelves. If I can, then, you know, next year it's gonna be the project and budget and everything, but we'll see. If you do have some ingenious ideas that you can give me, yeah, leave me a comment down below, link me to products. I'll make sure that I check the spam folder. I'm really looking for some fixtures that are affordable because I need a lot of fixtures. Also, not something designed for plants. I don't want pink light. That's okay, we can do good without it. And the shop light, I think it's the best solution. So alrighty guys, this was the video for today. I kind of need to hurry because there's gonna be a lot of noise outside my house for the next month or so. So we'll film in the morning when everything is very dark, but hey, what can we do? Thank you for watching, hope you've enjoyed it. And you know the drill, if you like these types of updates or vloggy types of videos, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchids and plants videos, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye! Somebody's developing color. Look at this bud. This is the Encyclia vitellina. Maybe if I look in the register, she's not Encyclia anymore, but at this point, oh my goodness, it's a bit too much with the name changes. Anyway, the vitellina is growing her flower spike, and this is the first bud that is catching color. It's starting to become really orange and nice, and I just love me some orange flowers or red flowers. I love warm colors. I'm not sure why. I love the browns, I love the oranges, all of these nice goldenish colors. They're right up my alley. So I'm really excited to see the vitellina in bloom.